1 minute to air. We're now streaming.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, happy Monday. We would like to call the Durham City Council meeting to order for this Monday, April 17, 2023 at 7 p.m. exactly, here at 101 City Hall Plaza, first floor in our council chambers. I'd like you to join me in a moment of silence as we center ourselves for this evening. Thank you. I'll now turn to Councilwoman Deidreana Freeman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. It's our practice to stand and salute the flag. If you'll join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll.
Madam Mayor.
I am present.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Middleton has requested an excused absence for today. Councilmember Caballero.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Present.
Councilmember Holsey-Hyman.
Present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
And Councilmember Williams.
I am here.
Thank you.
Well, what a time, what a time. The moment has come. I've been waiting for this moment for a couple of weeks now, for the State of the City address. This city that I love so well, my hometown. I'm honored to serve as your mayor, and I'm honored tonight to stand here with you all who have joined us here in Chambers, and with you all who are watching at home, for me to tell you what my journey has been like and what the city of Durham has been doing since I last addressed you about this time last year. I'm extremely pleased to see all of you tonight. And it brings me joy when I think about all that we have accomplished. We've accomplished so much over the last year. It's impossible to include it all tonight, but I will cover as much ground as possible on where the city of Durham stands on pressing issues and where I hope to have your help to move us forward. First, I want to honor and recognize my council colleagues who serve with me, and also our city manager, who I'll talk about again, and our city attorney. Thank you all for all of the work that you do for the city of Durham. I want to start with some good news. We could talk about a lot of bad news, but this is a good news time. And it's certainly not all of it. I encourage you to stay up to date and spread the word about the many great things happening in our city. Make sure that you sign up for the bi-weekly newsletter called City Connect, which includes messages from our city manager, or view the Bull City Today segments on Spectrum Channel 8 or on the city's YouTube and social media pages. The city has continued to strengthen our partnership with Durham County. I got to stop and talk about the relationship that I have with our chair of the Durham County Board of Commissioners, Chair Brenda Howerton, who's here with me tonight. She has been a mentor to me in this role. She's been a partner to me on many things on a personal basis. I value, though, most what she's been able to accomplish with Durham County as their chair. And I look to her for guidance in a lot of things. So I want to publicly say thank you for your friendship, for your sisterhood, for all the things that you do for our county. And I also want to brag that we've been able to partner on a lot of things together, from addressing crime and enhancing public safety, to our partnerships on affordable housing and economic and youth development. And rest assured that it's her board as well. We coordinate well between the two boards, and it's an historic board that she chairs. And so we are grateful that we are sharing this historic time together. So we are working to ensure that whether you have a city or a county address, your leaders, be rest assured that your leaders are coordinating our efforts and our resources to achieve greatest impact. Now, we've all heard about the bipartisan infrastructure law. And through the passing of that law, a once-in-a-generation investment in our country's infrastructure. This city, Durham City, has been awarded over $10 million to support Safe Streets and Roads for All program, our Emergency Watershed Protection Program, and hazard mitigation. But we are not stopping there. We are currently investigating 56 other competitive grant opportunities, and we are awaiting decisions on several more applications. Just today, we received great news from Congresswoman Valerie Fouchie's office that the city will, we hope, receive $3 million for the South Side Revitalization Phase 3 and Phase 4. This project was chosen because it fills our continued need for affordable housing and demonstrates strong community support. So we're aligned, and if we receive that money, it will come in 2024. Now let's talk about the surveys that our residents filled out for Durham City about satisfaction with the services that our over 2,000 employees meet out every day. The City of Durham's annual satisfaction survey shows that residents positively perceive the Bull City as an excellent or good place to live and work. 82% feel that Durham is an excellent or good place to live of those who filled out the survey, and 78% felt that Durham is an excellent or good place to work. Now that's clap worthy right there. Yeah. That's clap. Now, notable increases in satisfaction since the 2021 survey includes the ease of travel by Durham, our yard waste collection services, the condition of our public art, our greenways and our trails, our images of Durham, and cultural programming. Our city workers work very, very hard to make sure that these things happen continuously on a daily basis. Let's talk about the Durham Housing Authority a minute. In September, the Durham Housing Authority, and we have Mr. Anthony Scott here, who is the CEO of our Durham Housing Authority. He's been transformative in this role. That's not an easy job that he has. But in September, the Durham Housing Authority and the City of Durham announced the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that we've been selected to receive $40 million in Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant funding, or CNI funding. And if you ride down Main Street, you will see some of that happening now. These funds are going towards the revitalization of Durham's existing 519 East Main Street, the Liberty Street revitalization. We'll be developing multiple other DHA city and county-owned properties in downtown Durham and central city neighborhoods. We're trying to have one Main Street, not the tale of two Main Streets that we have right now. We have also funded shovel-ready affordable housing projects that will bring approximately 400 new units online. These 4 projects are currently being considered by our partners over in the county, and we are using ARPA monies to do that. And so I believe that the county, we have already committed 10 million, the city, and the county, I believe, has committed 10 million as well. So that's clap-worthy right there, too. I'm gonna lead y'all tonight. And continuing on the ARPA money, we've also awarded over $20 million plus to 34 approved projects led by Durham nonprofits and community organizations, which will address safety, stable housing, economic equity, community resiliency, and health and wellness. We have also invested greatly in community and public safety through our community safety department's pilots of new response models for 911 call service and our support of our violent interrupters like Bull City United and the Reformers. And I'll come back and talk to them because some of those people that I saw and introduced to you last year, they are here tonight as well. I also want to mention that I did visit our 911 call center on last week, and we have a new class over there. We have 7 new persons who are being trained probably right now to become 911 operators, and that is not an easy job. So we congratulate those new trainees, and we are so thankful for our staff over there who work really, really hard to make sure that when you pick up the phone and dial 911, there is an answer and help is on the way. The work of these individuals, you know, it's often behind the scenes and courageous and pioneering for our violent interrupters, our 911 callers, all of those, our HEART team, all of these people work odd hours, sometimes long hours. And so I want to take a moment to ask them to stand. If you are Bull City United, the HEART team, if you're the Reformers, please stand if you're in the audience tonight. Stand to be recognized. We are grateful for your service. We are grateful for your service. We've also invested in economic development with small business support for minority-owned or women-owned and underutilized businesses, and in strategies like guaranteed income for improving economic equity for vulnerable populations. But North Carolina is getting ready to make, Durham is getting ready to make history again in 2029. 2029. We will host the World University Games that summer. And that was a process that had to be vetted. And people had to go out of town and across the waters and bring it home. Didn't they, Brenda Howard? But they brought it home. They brought it home. And so in 2029, and I hope that everybody who's here today will be there in 2029, we will have lots of visitors right here in Durham at North Carolina Central University, at Duke University, as these games will be held all over Durham, I think Chapel Hill, no, Greensboro, and it's one other place. Brenda said it, and Raleigh. So that's going to bring millions of dollars into our community and millions of visitors to our state and city, and we hope that they will have a great experience and come back. So we've got some great things happening in Durham, and I'd like just to give a round of applause for all of our city workers who made most of this, a lot of this happen. Now, we are now a city of approximately 350,000 plus. We're racially, ethnically diverse. We are the 4th largest city in North Carolina and the 71st largest city in the United States. Yeah. In case you didn't know, because I didn't know, I just asked them to tell me this, Durham covers an area of 107.3 miles, square miles. So that's not a lot, but it is a lot, right? So, and your city now, your city maintains over 600 miles of paved roads. The rest of your roads are maintained by the state. But the city of Durham and its workers maintain 600 miles of paved roads. And the infrastructure to support all of these things and these numbers is called Durham City Government. The city is responsible, because I have to tell people, because they like to call and tell us we're responsible for this or we're responsible for that. And I have to kind of tell you, no, not quite. City government can't handle it all, and we're not supposed to. That's the beauty of our democracy. We have several forms of government. But the city is responsible for what we call brick and mortar, right? Your streets, your lights, your sidewalks, our water, and your bus service. Our county partners are responsible for human services that support our residents, and we work very closely with them to ensure that all of our residents receive the support they need. The city of Durham itself has 27 departments and 2,360 full-time employees, 297 part-time employees. Now, the Durham Fire Department, the Police Department, Emergency Communications, Parks and Recreations, Community Safety, Water Management, Solid Waste, Public Works, Office of Economic and Workforce Development, Inspections and Planning. They provide a multitude of direct support to our residents each and every day. Several providing 24-hour response in cases of emergency or crisis. But you know what? You won't see most of the people who work for the city of Durham. It is a 24-hour, 365-day operation. The city never closes. I had to learn it the hard way. It never closes. So who are they? Who are these people who dedicate their lives to public service, as public service, guising as city employees? They're really the lifelines of our city. So first, I have to acknowledge the lady that heads it all, the operations of our city, the day-to-day operations of our city. The council is a policy-making board. City Manager Page, she runs the day-to-day operations. And she runs it well. You have our attorney, Attorney Kim Rayburg. She makes sure that we stay within the confines of the law as it regards to operation of the city. And our clerk, Ms. Dinah Schreiber, she makes sure that everything that happens, there's a note written about it for the most part. So please give them also a round of applause. So, and each of our, the council only has 3 employees, our clerk, our attorney, and our manager. But under them, there are several layers of people who keep things running in their departments. But to keep the city running, there are 4 people that stand as deputy city managers. And I'd like to introduce them to some and reintroduce them to others. Mr. Keith Chadwell, Mr. Bo Ferguson, come on. Miss Bertha Johnson. There's 3 of them. Did I miss somebody? There's 3. And they have portfolios underneath where they also then have department directors, and they carry out the day-to-day operations of our city. There's one thing that both I and our city leaders know, that none of this works without the other people that show up each day without question and with a spirit of excellence to make sure our residents have reliable city services. City employees get all the stars, every single one of them. And I ask all of our city employees, if you're here tonight, to please stand. Now, the city of Durham is also not bad to work for in case you're looking for a job. We are an outstanding employer. I'm telling you, they have great, did you know that the city is self-insured on its health benefits? Now, how many of y'all working for a company that can claim that? But the city has managed to do that. We have great health benefits. It's a great work environment. The opportunities for advancement and impact. Now, I know a lot of y'all, most of y'all call us when something goes wrong. I get it. But you know, you got people on the other end who love working for the city, and they're able to take your call and make something happen from that. So I want you to consider joining us as a city employee so you can see the results and impact of your work every day. I guarantee you, it is never a dull time on this job working for the city of Durham. Never a dull day. So I'm going to focus the rest of my time on the issues that I believe require our immediate attention to make Durham a great place to live, work, and play for all. Now, when I became your mayor, that was just not a phrase for me. I had to break that down into workable solutions for me to kind of understand. Live, work, and play. What does that mean? So first, let's talk about living in Durham. Let's talk about that. But I want to ground us in this quote from Martin Luther King. In 1967, when the world was very different, I was about 5 years old, he issued a call to action for Americans to confront poverty and injustice. Dr. King said, and I quote, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. There's no time for apathy or complacency. This is a time for vigorous and positive action. Many of the same challenges that were faced at that time echo today. The urgency of now." So let's talk about living in Durham. First, I have to acknowledge the senseless violence that continues to plague our city and cities all across this great nation. Each person taken away from our community continues to tear holes in the very fabric of who we are. I'm committed. I've been committed to considering all strategies to address the root causes of violence, including poverty, lack of housing, and economic opportunity for all our residents. I will ask for a moment of silence and reflection for our community members that we lost just as recently as yesterday. And over the last year and past years, as well as for their friends and families who must carry on. Thank you for that. I'd also like to announce that a collaborative day of remembrance, which has been organized primarily by school board member Javanya Lewis. She pulled the three bodies of government together, the city council, the county commissioners, and Durham public schools. We will have what we hope you all will join in on May 15th at 10 a.m., a time of silence for those we have lost. And we're calling that the Day of Remembrance. During this event, we will ask our entire community, wherever you are, to gather with us and our students to mourn the recent acts of violence at Hillside and other schools, and to pray for those families directly affected in our school community at large. More information about the event and the location will be forthcoming. In my State of the City address last year, I spoke of two main streets. The idea that many of our residents are living very different lives from one another just on Main Street. You can't ignore that inequity. You can see it. It's visible. And our growth and success is also visible. The new office buildings, the new apartments, new restaurants, our new homes, but that's not the entire story. The reality is that Durham's prosperity has not been shared equally or equitably across our community. And our most vulnerable populations are feeling the effects the most. And the sad part about it is, this is not new. It didn't just happen last year when Elaine O'Neill became mayor. It just didn't happen in the last 5 years. It's been going on a long time. So we have to continue to invest in closing these gaps. But your most basic need as a human being is that of shelter, housing. And I believe that ensuring that all residents have access to safe and affordable housing will have a stabilizing effect across many areas of our society. Now, I participated in January in what they call the point-in-time count. Never really heard of that. But it's an annual count that goes on all across the United States, and you basically count your unsheltered people experiencing homelessness on that single night. It's completed in January when it's bitter cold. And so I had the opportunity to go out this year. Now, the point in time count has been rising over the last 5 years due to the lack of affordable housing units and just not enough supportive services in place to help people remain in housing. The number of people who, from October 2021 through September 2022, over 1,000 people here in Durham entered emergency shelter, transitional housing, or permanent supportive housing. And this year, those numbers are expected to increase. It's something to talk about it, but I got a chance to see it. Next year, when it comes around, take the time to go out. It's an eye-opening experience. It was then that I grasped where we are in terms of what we have to do to make sure that this trend does not continue. Each one of the individuals that I saw that night, each of them all around our city, they deserve our most fervent efforts to prevent homelessness. If Durham wants to become a great place to live for all, we can't allow the trend of increasing homelessness to continue. Homelessness, though, that's not the problem. It's the symptom of the larger societal failures and disinvestment in our people. We have to invest in education, healthcare, jobs training, as well as affordable housing, and make sure that it's readily available for all income levels. That's our responsibility, and that's the road ahead. I'm proud of our relationships that I mentioned with the housing providers and partners, you know, as they endeavor to transform and reimagine our public housing sites in and around downtown Durham. You know, you have the new construction of the Willard Street apartments. We just had a grand opening for the Joyce, the total rehab and redevelopment of the J.J. Henderson, Elizabeth Street, Forest Hill Heights, other sites, you know, and those housing, they are high quality, affordable, and mixed income housing that help to keep long-term Durham residents in our central city, but it's not enough. It's not enough. As a council, you know, we spent much of the last year diving deep into a kind of comprehensive review of housing issues in our city. What I call a deep dive into housing, so we could get the lay of the land of housing in Durham. So we have had an analysis of, you know, city demographics, the current housing market, which includes affordability, development processes, infrastructure, a comprehensive understanding of community needs. If you haven't had an opportunity to do so, go back and look at some of those sessions of our work session. We're about finishing up now, and we're going to have that conclusion in a couple of weeks. But at the end of that, we hope to have a document that will help to guide the councils how we approach housing in Durham. But more importantly, to have some type of document that gives us a point in time as to where we stand in the city, so that when you come on as a newly elected person, or you're coming into the city working in those departments, you'll have something that can help you get up to speed. It was really hard for me to figure out housing in Durham, and it still remains very complex, but it is incumbent upon all of us, if we are to do something, that we know what we're dealing with and how we approach it, and it takes all of us to do that. So we've tried to help to educate ourselves as well as you all. Now, I have charged leaders from just about every sector in this city, every time I get a chance to talk, to address one of the most difficult challenges not only facing our city, but cities all across America. And that's housing of folks who have been involved in our justice system. Believe it or not, though, the barriers that they face are very similar to barriers that are faced by our elderly population, as well as our neighbors who have disabilities. They look very much alike in the barriers that are out there in terms of housing. So we have had some of the Ivy League folk to come in, along with Michael Bloomberg, who started a Cedar Leadership Initiative for Mayors. We are a legacy city. I am the second mayor. Mayor Steve Schur was the first to be involved in that. And normally you're supposed to kind of do sort of a program or a project. Well, that's not what Durham is taking a look at. We are doing the harder work, the why and the how. And so we have been selected to participate in the seven-month innovation track to take a critical look at the barriers to safe and affordable housing experienced by justice-involved individuals. Through this program, this team of 12, you see them, and some of them are here tonight. I'm gonna ask them to stand in a second. They have been spending hours per week. They had to have a commitment. We had to have a commitment from these folks that they would take about 12, I think it's 5 hours a week, 5 hours a week over this 7-month period to delve deep into this issue. So they spent time talking with residents, with lived experiences. They're talking to landlords, and they're talking to service providers. So we can co-create solutions that could address this serious community challenge. I'd ask those people, those persons, those sheroes and heroes who are part of that initiative to stand so that folk can see you. On that team from the city, I have to thank Ms. Amber Wade and Chief of Staff Kamisha Wallace, who have been leading that charge. They've put in a lot of time. All of these folk put in a lot of time in trying to wrestle and confront and deal with head-on one of the most pressing issues that we have in our nation. Not just in Durham City, but we have chosen to tackle it. So we are hoping to have some opportunity before the end of the year to come back and tell you what they're going to be asking not only the city to do, the county to do, but for all of Durham citizens to do. So we're working on housing. Now let's look at the next block, which is work. Everybody needs to be able to sustain their lifestyle. And not everybody needs a $500,000 house. Not everybody needs a job that pays $500,000 either. Some of us do very well, but we need to have an opportunity to work. So that's the mechanism by which our residents sustain housing, our mode of transportation. It supports the basic needs of your families. So we have to make it important that the city continues to devote resources into both increasing the number of family-sustaining jobs and into the training and skill development of our workforce. We must think critically about operationalization. I can't even say it. We have to think critically about how we have a responsive workforce development system that connects our youth, our unemployed, our dislocated, underemployed residents to employees. There has to be a system in that block to make those things happen. Now, let's talk about Youth Works. Tell you a little bit that's going on with our young people. This year, 863 young people expressed an interest in participating in our Durham Youth Works program. We're excited to report that 729 of those youth have enrolled. I started as a child as a city employee, working for Durham City. This trend continues. So this work continues to be transformative for our youth in our city, but the city can't do this alone. No way. We have about 17,000 plus young people in Durham public schools and middle and high school. So you see what the numbers look like. We can't hire all of our kids who need an opportunity. But I am honored to announce that Duke University, through its Office of Durham and Community Affairs, has agreed to a historic and generous partnership with our youth work programs, and now I'm asking each of you, especially in our business community, to do the same. Over 700 youth have stepped up and spoken. They are not asking for a handout. They're asking for a hand up. Our Youth Works team will equip these aspiring young people with the essential work readiness skills they need to ensure their workplace success. So I implore our business community to rise to the challenge to hire, host, and contribute to this movement. Business partners, these bright lights represent your future and our future workforce. Please, this summer's coming, give them the opportunity to realize their career goals. And you too will reap the benefits of a skilled talent pipeline that guarantees our success. Engage. So go to that little website y'all see, durhamyouthworks.com, and help us out. I was talking to our city manager the other day. She indicated that she wanted to double our numbers for this summer, which will put us at about 1,000. But you heard the 17,000. That's in their age range. So we're going to do our part, but we're asking you all to help us as well. Now, our Workforce Development Division also continues, and our workforce representatives are here tonight. They continue to work to align the employment needs of our local businesses with the entire Durham talent pipeline. Even those facing enormous challenges and barriers to employment, through work-based learning, training, and skill building, we continue to build the capacity of our workforce. Our NC Works Career Center offers support to both employers, and those seeking employment, having provided, get this, 11,318 services to employers and 35,756 services to job seekers to date. And that is a small department. That's a lot of numbers. So we thank the NC Works Career Center for all that they're doing. The City of Durham, in partnership with the Durham Workforce Development Board, continues to foster interagency and interlocal partnerships that successfully build the employability of our workforce, especially those in our most vulnerable population, such as those facing disabilities, veterans, and our justice-involved community. We have to ensure equitable and shared prosperity to all of our Durham citizens. And so this is a key priority for this administration. Likewise, Durham small business and small business owner ecosystem is essential to our local economy. These businesses and the owners create local jobs, give back to our local community, cultivate innovation and growth, and contribute to a unified and welcoming community identity. Providing technical assistance to local businesses in our community is critical to our community's success. And since early 2022, OEWD has worked with Triangle Artworks to implement 3 cohort-style technical assistance programs focused on teaching independent early career artists how to make a profitable business from their craft. We will also have, we hope very soon, the regional director for the Southern region for the SBA administration, who will come to Durham for a town hall. And we are partnering with several of our businesses to make that a 2-day event, we hope, with him being here and letting us know where our federal government can help our small business administration, where our federal government, through its SBA administration, can help our small businesses. So stay tuned for that. We've also implemented our first ever technical assistance program targeted to the Hispanic Latino community. Upon the conclusion of this pilot program, we received a set of detailed recommendations that will guide our engagement with the Hispanic Latino business community moving forward. This year, we also launched our micro enterprise business development program. This technical assistance program, facilitated by local experts, included a finance and accounting skills course. Participants who completed the program had an opportunity to apply for direct grant funding for their businesses. The Durham Small Business Opportunity Loan Fund, a partnership effort with Durham County and Carolina Small Business Development Fund, we continue to provide financial support to local firms. This year, we reached a milestone of $1 million in lending distribution to Durham small businesses. The city has enthusiastically championed Durham's many diverse businesses, business owners, and contractors by supporting, sponsoring, and attending community partner events such as Techstars Startup Weekend, the Black Business Week, the Hispanic Contractors Association Annual Brilliance Awards Gala, and many more. We also know that after work, it's time to play. Time to play. We all know the importance of having convenient and high-quality places for our residents, particularly for our youth to play. Reinvesting in our neighborhoods through the addition of facilities and recreational activities has been an emphasis this year. Durham Parks and Recreation has dedicated $48 million to build new parks or renovate existing parks in East Durham over the last 5 years. This includes the redevelopment of the former Wheels Fun Park site to include a skating ring. And an adjacent outdoor aquatics facility. Last month, just a few weeks ago, we celebrated the opening of the Durham Bulls Miracle League in downtown Durham. It's a beautiful thing. The new Miracle League field celebrates Durham's value of inclusivity by creating a space where youth and adults and special needs can fully enjoy playing baseball and other recreational activities. And I got a chance to witness that. It was a beautiful thing. It is also conveniently close to J.J. Henderson. That was brilliant how they planned that. And the Joyce, which will allow the seniors to be interactive in that space, right? So they have a place to get exercise and stay healthy and watch our young people and our neighbors out there doing their thing on the baseball field. That was brilliant. That idea was brilliant. I wish I could take credit for that, but I can't. That was already in the works. So underscoring much of our ability to live, work, and play is also transportation. You gotta have transportation. So you have to have an equitable and a convenient system of transportation to get us to schools, jobs, recreation, healthcare, many other crucial components of life. You can't play with other people outside of your neighborhood if you don't have a way to get there. You can't visit some of these parks if you don't have a way to get there. And so we know that for many Durham residents, we know that transportation is a barrier to accessing employment, education, healthcare, basic needs, such as the grocery store, going to the grocery store. Our transit system is a critical tool to connect our underserved residents with these opportunities. We know that among our Go Durham riders, more than 80% are people of color. More than 70% have incomes below $25,000 a year. And more than 2/3 live in households without access to a car. For the last 3 years, we've made transit fare-free, making it simple and convenient, we hope, for riders while saving money. The money is cost for everything else keeps going up. As we enter deliberations on our next year's budget, I am prepared to support a continuation of fare-free service. We also know that, some of our residents need specialized transportation assistance. And one example of how we're trying to meet those needs is the Go Durham Access Senior Shuttle. This shuttle provides scheduled service from Durham Housing Authority, senior communities such as Price Steel, Place, J.J. Henderson, to local grocery stores. And in 2022, this initiative provided more than 2,700 free trips to make it easy for seniors to get fresh food so they can stay healthy and active. As I was preparing for today, and I'm getting ready to close in a few minutes, I remembered several comments made by Coach K as the City Council honored him upon his retirement, and Coach Trey Oliver of NCCU's National Championship team, as we honored the team and Coach K during some recent council meetings. Both successful coaches spoke about the value of their teams of student athletes coming together with one vision to achieve a successful outcome. Being a successful city is not unlike a team coming together to win a championship. I believe when we all work together in the same direction, staying focused, greatness will follow. Last year, I asked you to volunteer for 5 hours. For those of you who responded to my call for action, thank you. If you haven't, please consider the urgency is now. Now is the time to pitch in. Being of service to our community is essential for Durham to continue to grow. April is National Volunteer Month, and it is urgent that we act now to ensure there's opportunity for equity, growth, and safety for all Durham residents. Each month, I've tried to present and have presented a proclamation for a specific virtue. These virtues are reminders of the values that as a community and as individuals, we need to embrace to make our city a beacon to all: kindness, patience, grace, thankfulness, gratefulness, courage, fortitude, and this month, peace. Working together, on one accord is how we address the urgency of now. Those are my scripted comments, but I do want to end with a few personal comments. As I've thought about over the last year of my life, I've always been committed to try to make sure that the experience I've had in this great city is not a unique one. It is due to each and every one of our children, that they can grow up in this city, they can be educated in this city, and then they can turn around and serve their city. And I've tried to do that, but I'm not the only one. And I introduced you last year to some young men that we have called the reformers. But there are some others who stand with them and who have stood with them. And I'd just like to give you an update, because there have been a lot of volunteers who have worked behind the scenes. And some of them are very familiar to you. They left their government positions and they became volunteers. One is one of my very great sister friends, Chief Judge at that time, and still is my chief, Pat Evans. Serving on the city council for a number of years, who's still out there volunteering, former Councilwoman Jackie Wagstaff. Still volunteering. Lisa Jones, who was a federal warden, who's also the sister of Dr. Henry McCord, relocated to Durham, North Carolina, and got to work immediately with our former police chief, Steve Chalmers. You've probably heard it, and if you haven't, it's called Justice Reborn, and they say it's not a movement, it's not a program, it's a movement. But it's been a movement that's been surrounding all of these men. And Tamala, I'm not gonna forget you, who also works for the city, who's been volunteering her time. Stand up, young lady. Working in the county. But I wanna let you know that where there's a will and there's a way. And we've always gotta have hope. I don't care, and hope outlasts generations. Right? There are a couple of things that we know outlast people who sit in seats. Racism will outlast it. Right? Just continues on. All kinds of isms outlast. But hope is the sustainer, and it gives us the ability to understand that we can transcend all of those things when you have committed volunteers and folk who are willing to change their lives when they've been given the opportunity. So I want you to see these young men that you saw last year. Mr. Dennis Garrett, who runs Love and Respect. And all of the young men that I call our reformers. Stand up, y'all. Let me tell you a little bit about what Judge Evans told me about it. Nobody has gotten a new charge. Nobody. We've had some some landlords who have stepped forward and who have given them an opportunity to have a place to stay and rent. They have been out in the community at night working, using the money that they have to put back in the community. They do it while we're sleeping. When I look at them, first of all, I have to say, I know there's a God. I have to say that. But I know that hope rings true. They have changed their lives, and they wanted to, and they have, and they are helping each and every day other young people change their lives. So that's why I'm here as your mayor. That's why I decided to run for this office, to let you know that we all, given an opportunity, can really make this the city where all of our residents live, work, and play well together. I encourage you all to let's not let anyone else's child have to die on the streets of Durham, North Carolina. I got a call yesterday, I'm in church. And it was one of my sister-in-laws. I said, I got to call you back. I'm in church. Call me when you get out. She said the young lady's name was a family member. The father of her 2 kids had been killed in the apartment in front of the kids. And they were all shaken, as we all were. But that's not the first time for my family. That's like the 3rd time for my family. We have to figure out why our young people are killing each other. And we're gonna have to take ownership of that. You cannot be afraid of the streets of Durham. We are not miracle workers. All of us up here, especially the elected officials, this is a part-time job by state statute, part-time. I guarantee you that each of us put in full-time hours plus on this job. So we're doing our volunteer hours. I would never ask you to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do or haven't done. But you all have to help us. The numbers don't add up. We have 355,000 approximately Durham citizens. We have 2,500 city employees. You cannot expect your governments to do it all. And a lot of times we are reacting to an incident. It has to come from our neighbors and from within the communities. So I encourage you tonight to think about how you are going to help make these streets of Durham safe for all of us to live, work, and play. Bull City strong, everybody. We have to have a meeting. We're gonna take 5 minutes and we'll be ready to do it. Let's take the 5-minute break, y'all. We'll be ready to get to the people's business.